Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Approved Guy channel. I'm Sebastien Boyer, the Approved Guy. And on this video, we have a special guest, Matt Seibert from Life 180. Matt is the Director of Agent Development with Life 180. He has over a decade of experience in the industry. He's helped hundreds of agents find their purpose and identify their goals and ultimately achieve success in this space. With Matt's experience, he's taking Life 180 to the next level. Without further ado, let's get into this conversation with Matt. Hey, Matt. Thanks for joining the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sebastien.
Of
I'm
course.
glad to be here. Let's have some fun.
Awesome. And yes, thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge and experience with us today. So tell me, Matt, first, let's just get in your background. How did you get in this industry? And let's just talk from there.
Yeah, I started in the industry about 2013. I got recruited in one of those three-letter MLM companies. You probably are familiar with some of them. I spent actually first 3 years learning the business before I actually quit my full-time job. I transitioned full-time into this industry 2017, shortly became a six-figure earner, built that agency to $1 million agency. And in that MLM model, I think they're really good at manipulating you. And once you drink the Kool-Aid, you don't see clearly. And I stayed there for 8 years, worked my way up all the way to the top.
Wow.
And I think when I got a chance to look behind the curtain, I realized a lot of the stuff in these types of organizations, these MLM models, really just don't align with my values and beliefs. And the timing was really good. Actually, it happened around COVID. So it provided me an exit. I can get out of that company. And I ended up joining another company. Now they weren't like one of those typical three-letter MLM companies, but I think they were just as bad in a different way. So with this company, I joined and I transitioned from recruiting everybody and their mom and that model to now buying leads. And then through the leads, you're making sales and stuff like that. So it was a completely different model. I think it was fun in the beginning because it was something new, right? And you got to learn just different aspects of the industry.
Yeah.
But once I realized, of course, there's another game that was being played as far as pushing sales instead of helping people, I thought to myself, okay, this is something I can't continue to do. Got that team up to a $1 million agency, and a lot of people thought I was pretty crazy. They said, why would you walk away from money like that? What's wrong with you? And I think for me, and what I realized when I was younger, it was all about making money. If I can make $10,000, $20,000, sign me up. I'll do whatever. But I don't know. It might just be me, and I see it in a lot of people. As we get older, we realize it's not about just making money, but it's how we make money. And for me, I just refuse to make money misrepresenting products and not telling the full truth and selling on half truth. And I just got to the point where I really thought I almost quit the industry because for some reason I felt like this industry was just full of scumbags. So I went through a period of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, right? I enjoy helping people. And I thought, okay, what if I create my own agency? Because then I could create my own culture. I can create what's right from wrong and steer people the right way. And as I was doing my research, I came across Chris Kirkpatrick's YouTube channel, Life 180. And what intrigued me was he was touting everything opposite of what I was taught. He's pointing out the issues with IULs and how IULs are misrepresented. I sold IULs for close to a decade. And I thought to myself, at first, I told Chris this, I didn't like you at all. And then when you click on the videos on YouTube, the algorithm push more videos to your feed. And next, I'm listening to Chris Kirkpatrick every other video. And soon enough, a lot of the things he was saying really started clicking. I thought, it actually makes sense. And for a moment there, I thought, if anything that he's saying is true, I'm the type of person, look, I have to investigate. I can't continue to go out and screw people. And I reached out to him. And you could believe it, like the universe, God, or whatever your belief is. The fact that when I reached out to him, he lived in Phoenix was just like, wow, that was pretty crazy. In fact, he was 15 minutes away from him for me. So he drove out to my office. We spent about 3 hours. We locked the doors. Nobody was in the office. It was early morning. And during those 3 hours, he really popped open the hood on IULs. And that was the first time in 10 years anybody can dive in and show me the mechanics of the IUL. And that was enough said. And that was the last day I haven't sold IULs after that.
Wow.
And knowing what I knew, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't stay here. I can't go to these other companies because everybody's selling IULs.
Yep.
And I asked him, hey, look, do you have an agency? Can I work with you? What's the situation? He said, yeah, we're actually focused on growing an agency and they're just beginning to grow. And so I definitely joined immediately. And I thought, wow, there's so much value that I can add to this company because one of my specialties and my strong points is developing agents, especially agents that have no experience. They've never done anything in this industry. It's one of the things that I enjoy doing, helping agents get off the ground and getting things moving. And I really saw a need for there. And so I asked Chris, hey man, I'll totally, whatever you need, I'm willing to help this company grow. And I did things without him asking. And I just really put my time in and I earned my position at Life 180. And I'm thankful for him giving me that position to be able to go out and now do what I enjoy. And so we've grown a lot. We have a lot of agents submitting business for the first time and building their business. And it's been really fun. And when I look back, I thought I was just gonna forget about everything. Just forget the past, no problem. I got a fresh start. I'm moving forward. I'm excited. And one of the things that I did was I got in a position where I'm now interviewing a lot of agents that find us on YouTube and they're asking if they can join. And so now I got to the point where I'm interviewing 5 to 10 agents every week. And come to find, most of them are coming from these 3-letter MLM companies. And one of the things that struck me that I wasn't really exposed to at this large of a scale, that all these agents were getting screwed.
Mm.
They're getting lied to. Totally, like to me, this is what boggles my mind. A lot of these 3-letter MLM companies, they're required to basically open up their own policy, but they can't write their own policy. The upline or the leader has to write your policy so that they make the sell on you. And I'm thinking, okay, if that's your company, that's how you do it, so be it. But this is the crazy part. As a leader of that company and you're creating a policy for your own agent, this is your own agent within your company, and you design an IUL that completely screws them for commission to your own agents. And so what was crazy is I would look at all these agents, their IULs, and I say, hey, let me take a look. And time after time, all of these agents, their own IULs were just totally garbage. And I thought to myself, I said, there's no way this is going on at large scale. And as I continue to interview more of these agents from these MLM companies, the more I found just lies and misguidance. And I thought to myself, okay, I can't believe for this many years, these MLM companies have been allowed to continue to not only screw agents, but obviously they're screwing clients because let's face it, they're not really taught on how to sell IULs.
Right.
They're just flipping them. And I thought, wow, over my 10 years and as far back as I can remember, nobody has really stood up and called these guys out and really exposed what they're doing at a large scale. The only thing that's been exposed with these companies are maybe agent had a bad experience and they post something on a forum that gets buried and nobody knows about it. And yet they're recruiting a lot of people every single week because those people don't understand what they're getting into. And so I thought to myself, what better person than I to go out and work on a plan to expose all of this stuff. And so now I'm working on creating content, YouTube channel, all this stuff. And for me, it's not about being negative and stuff like that. It's about giving a person that wants to get into this industry a chance to see the field.
Yeah.
And see how each company works, how different cultures and what they're going to make you do as you join these companies, and then allow the person that's getting into the industry make a choice on which one they prefer. And I think that's missing in the industry, and I want to fulfill that. But not only that, not to be negative, I do want to call out anybody in this industry that is doing things that is not in the best interest for agents and clients. I'm going to call you out. And you could call me negative or whatever the case may be, because I think there needs to be a sense of accountability.
Sure.
And it doesn't seem like anybody's doing it. So
Okay.
you can tell I get a little passionate about this, but
Okay, so that's
that's kind of like my story. And now has driven me to this position where it's okay. First, I found a company that totally aligns with my values and beliefs. And we put agents first and focus on agent development, not product pushing, not recruiting, not all these games, right?
Yeah.
It's really about development. And that should be the focus of every company. If you're an agent, you join a company and the first thing that they're having you do is make sales or recruit, you should run away because they're not interested in agent development. It's about self-interest and not interest in you. And the reason why agent development is important is 90% of agents quit this industry, and that's because they're pushed into things that they're not ready for. And for you to succeed in this industry, you have to develop into who you need to become. And that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over a week of you reading a script, getting it down, start making phone calls. It's going to take some time and everybody is on a different timeline. I've had agents that have been with me for 2 years, and after 2 years, they finally got it. And then they do extraordinary things. I've had agents that stay with me for 5 years. For 5 years, they sat on the bench and nobody would have picked them on a winning team. But I kept on training them, kept on working with, and after 5 years, they completely changed their entire life. Like it's just been amazing. And I'm not saying it's going to take you 5 years. And what I'm saying is everybody's on a different timeline. You're in control of that, how fast, how slow, but you should be focused on developing yourself. And unfortunately, I haven't seen another company outside of Life 180, which is focused on that. We don't have leaderboards and we're like, hey, how many sales you got and what's your cash flow? We don't play on all of those games because at the end of the day, I think that also creates a moral conflict, because if you're trying to get your next promotion and if you're trying to look, I'm okay with promotions. Let's not take that out of context. But the way they peer pressure you in getting promotions,
Right.
that's a little bit different. That creates a situation with agents where it's like, now they have to make a choice. Am I going to do what's right for the client and actually help them? Or am I going to push $200 more and I could get this promotion, right? That's the problem with the industry. It's really focused on the wrong things. And there's my spiel.
Well, again, thank you, man. That's a lot to unpack there. And first of all, I'd like to ask you, are you okay with actually talking about specific company names, or do you want to keep it vague at this time?
I don't care.
Oh, cool. So when you first started, what was the actual company, the first company that you were with?
So the company I was with, it was called Opus, but it was a branch off of WFG.
Okay, cool.
So my mentor was taught by Rich Tholley, which Rich Tholley is the top of WFG.
Gotcha. Okay.
So WFG was a branch off of Primerica. That's where a lot of the leaders from Primerica jumped off and they started WFG. And then from WFG, a lot of these smaller companies started breaking off.
Gotcha.
Probably one of the most popular ones was PHP.
Oh.
That's Patrick Bet David, right?
Yeah.
And so what they did was from WFG, they branched off to PHP, but they changed their niche. And so what they wanted to target on more minorities, Latins, Blacks, and stuff like that, military. And then from PHP, that's what happened with there. And then recently, in about a couple of months ago, another group left WFG and they started GFI.
Okay.
And so when you come across these companies, they seem like different companies, but they're all the same stuff. They follow the same format.
Yeah.
And what you're getting into is when you have to pay to join. You should never have to pay to join in this industry.
Well,
and what they'll tell you, background check.
I want to take someone through, like, just generally speaking with any of these agencies. What does that look like? I'm a brand new agent. I come, and then I want to contrast that with how Life 180 is doing that. So I'm a brand new agent. What's my first steps to get started? And then with, as far as costs, as far as time commitment, and then how am I going to, like you said, the culture is different. It's going to be more go get clients, recruit a team, do that right away, day one. But take us through that. And so we have an idea of what that looks like.
Yeah, let's do that. So when you join a MLM company, so WFG, GFI, PHP, Primerica, they're pretty much all the same. So first of all, you're gonna have to pay to join. $199. Now they're gonna say that's a background check, but there is no background check. In fact, you should ask them, where's my background check? What company do you do background checks with? Initially, if you follow the original system that WFG had, that $100 or $200 that you pay to join, it's actually for a membership fee. And under memberships, they can have different rules that you can't outside of a membership. Like, for instance, it's illegal if you go to Walmart or you go to any store, it's illegal for them to ask you to see your receipt. They can't do that. But then they say you could do it at Costco because it's a membership. Under membership rules, they create the rules, right?
Mhm.
So this is why these companies create a membership. But what has happened is a lot of these agents that are recruiting these people, they're soft, meaning they don't they're not strong enough to tell people it's a membership because they don't know how to overcome that. So they soften it, they dampen it down. Oh, it's not a membership, it's a background check. And now recently they've gotten even more soft because a background check, they can't even recruit people with that. Now they added in, oh, it's licensing. It's going to pay for your licensing. So now they are paying for your licensing, but the licensing cost for them is $40. Why am I paying $200? Where's the extra money going? So first of all, you start the relationship with a lie,
With a
and
transaction,
then after you join, what'd you say?
with a transaction and a lie.
Yeah, and that's sad, right? And I should go back before you pay. You probably were invited to some type of company overview, and that's where they're going to sell you on the dream. You're going to feel a certain way. Man, I want to meet with them. So after you pay, this is how it's supposed to go. But a lot of these agents are weak and they don't have the strength to be able to help people move forward in that sense. So what they're supposed to do within that week, they're supposed to meet with you, create a list. And so what you're going to do is create a list of all your friends and family. Now, I'm okay with that part. I think you'd be crazy if you don't want to see and try to identify if there's people that you know that you can help.
Right.
If you're uncomfortable with that, I think this industry is not for you because I think this is about serving people, not how you feel, right?
Yeah.
So I have no problem with creating a list. I think that's the first thing every agent should do. However, there's a couple of things that they do. One, they have you create a list in their system, which they keep all of your contacts. So if you create a list with an agency, make sure it's on like an Excel sheet or something, but that you possess, and you don't need to add phone numbers on there. But if you're with a company and they have you create a list and they tell you need phone numbers, the reason why they're asking for the phone numbers, they already know 90% of the time you're going to quit. And when they quit, they're going to call everybody on your list.
Oh my God.
And they're going to say, hey, my name is Matt. You don't know me, but we have a friend in common, Sebastien. And Sebastien said that you probably were interested in looking at that. And I just want to see where you're at. That's how they call them. Could you imagine that?
Oh my.
So after they create a list, they'll paint it like we're creating a list for a certain reason. And then they're going to surprise you and say, okay, call your mom. We're going to schedule an appointment. And that's how they get it. And so now what they're going to do to motivate you is they're going to attach a promotion to it. Look, in the next 30 days, if we close 3 pieces of business and we recruit 3 people, I'm going to promote you to this. So now they're tagging on motivational things to get people going. And so what happens is now think about this, guys. You're going to go on an appointment with a guy that you just met, guy or girl, right? You don't even know. And they're going to tell you, when we go in this appointment, I need you to edify me, meaning I need you to make it look like I am somebody important and I know what I'm talking about. And you're basically vouching for somebody that you don't even know. And so basically you go in the appointment and say, hey, mom and dad, before we get started, I just want to let you know, man, Sebastien, he's one of the top leaders. He's been in the industry for 10 years and I really look up to him. And I'm so thankful that he took out his busy schedule to be able to help me with this training appointment. Thank you, Sebastien. And now you look like the good guy, right? It's all smoke and mirrors and games. And what they do is they bring in the credibility because most of these agents don't have credibility, right? So the person that you're bringing in brings the credibility and the agent brings the trust to the table. So credibility and trust, then they're going to talk about very general financial concepts and they're going to come back with an IUL and then they're selling these IULs. And that's really the game. And they want to get that done in like a 7-day, within 30 days for sure. And meanwhile, 30 days later, the agent still doesn't know how an IUL works, doesn't know what an IUL is. In fact, I would challenge most of the leaders that are going on those training appointments, they don't even know how IULs work. I sat down with a lot of these leaders and I challenged them specific questions regarding IULs and they couldn't even answer it, which is sad, right? Because they don't do training on IULs. You know what they do training on? How to edify.
And how to sell.
Yeah. This is how you go through the presentation. Yeah. Everybody is a parrot. You say the same thing.
Let me repeat this back to you. So I'm a brand new agent. I have to pay a membership fee to get on the team. At this point, I'm like I'm floating in euphoria because of all the energy and excitement. On top of that, you said that most likely I'm going to end up buying my own policy on myself because that's one of the first things. Then I'm going to get this promotion, recruit 3, sell 3, and I'm putting all those people's data into their system. And then of course, those people are being sold. Now, typically, what are the commission structures? Where are they starting at? High and low range? Do you know?
Yeah, they actually start at a commission structure that doesn't exist in the industry. because what happens is it's a LOA model. So basically, WFG is the one that's connected to all the carriers. So when there's a sale, the carriers pay WFG,
Okay.
and then WFG pays their agents. So I think WFG, GFI, all these companies, they start around 30%. Maybe some, I've seen some that are 25%. So basically, they're bringing it down and they're taking all the rest. And it's not about chasing high comp, but 20 and 30%, come on, that's just ridiculous. And then
They
what you
help
have to do to progress is like recruiting and stuff like that.
And then if they help you to make that sale, do you get to keep your full commission, or do they take a piece of your commission? Do they see
Yeah.
that?
So that's a great point to make out. So it's already bad enough you're getting 25, 30%. But as you go on these training appointments, they're taking half of it. Oh no, I'm sorry. It gets actually worse. It actually gets worse. Now, this is how the system is supposed to work, but some agents are weak in those types of models and they can't actually run the system. So because it's so uncomfortable for them, they have to make modifications. But what's supposed to happen is because you join these agencies without a license.
Oh,
So you don't have a license. And what they're going to do is they're going to have you study, and they don't care how long you take because it doesn't matter. So most agents are going to take 2-3 weeks minimum, some longer, right? So while you're studying for your license, what they're going to say is, hey, let's train you. And what agent is going to say no to that, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to go on all these appointments with you that you supply. They're going to close the business and there is no split because you're not licensed. So when you come around and ask, hey, so do I get paid on these? They're going to say, oh, no, not yet because you're not licensed. But once you get licensed, you get paid, but not paid on those appointments. You see how that's a slight,
I mean,
they don't tell you the full truth.
as an agent, wouldn't you like ask that question up front? How do they get past that? Are you getting some kind of points or credit towards something? Like, wow.
The reason why a lot of people don't ask that is a lot of people that they're recruiting, they're green. They don't know anything about the industry. And so they don't know what to ask. They don't know that if WFG and these companies pay me, they don't know that they don't own that book of business. They don't understand that. I didn't even know for years.
That's a whole nother topic now. So what is
Yeah.
that when you say I don't own my own book of business, or the agent doesn't own their book of business? So I understand
Yeah. So basically,
that like they are writing the business with the insurance carriers under their authority, or what was the acronym, or the LOA?
yeah. So basically what it means is the company is going to pay you your commission, not the carriers. And for you to technically own your book of business, the carriers have to pay you direct. So that deposit needs to come from the carrier directly.
From the insurance.
Now, it doesn't, there are some companies out there that will pay you, but they actually have a contract that states you own all your book of business day one. That's different. But WFG, the agreement that you sign, there's usually a vesting period. You have to stay with WFG for 5 years at least, or maybe they changed it. I don't know. But you have to stay with them a certain amount of years to take ownership. But even then, this is how they get around of all the contracts with these companies. In every contract, you'll read this simple phrase, as long as you're in good standing. Who determines that? What does it mean, as long as you're in good standing? What does that exactly mean? How can we objectively measure that? And what that does, it gives them the flexibility to determine what as good standing means. And so ultimately the 5-year vesting period, or even 3-year, it doesn't matter, because what happens, they already anticipate this, that 90% of the agents are going to quit. And they already know this because what they sell you and what you're going to actually be doing are two different things. And people usually don't like that. That's uncomfortable. Something's wrong, right? Yeah.
So I'm out of
A
pocket
wild game, isn't it?
to just get in, to join the club under the I'm paying for my licensing or whatever they use to lure me in. And then from there, do I have an ongoing maintenance dues, or is there a monthly requirement of cost, or how's that?
Yeah, every team does it a little bit different, but if you look at the original system, you're usually going to pay some type of technology fee.
Okay.
And so this technology fee is supposed to pay for all their systems and everything they created to organize your stuff. But I'm like, why don't you just do it yourself as an agent? They teach you how to be an entrepreneur, go create your own systems and stuff. Why do you need to pay
Well, because then
a
they
company
completely
$30 a
dependent on
month?
them. That's why I'm assuming that's the logic.
Look, you're getting $20-$30 a month from 50,000 agents. That racks up. It's just another profit stream.
So then on top of that, I buy my own policy. You're selling me an IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance policy. I brought my mother, my brother, my sister, and my best friend, and you sold them. I may or may not be licensed. If I'm not licensed, I'm not getting paid any commission. If I am licensed, you're going to take 50% of my already low 25, 30% intro commission structure. And then what happens then? So now I'm trying to recruit people. And then what typically happens, like how long does it take for somebody to get burned out? And then obviously there's success stories, right? There, as far as people making it through and building teams and making sales, what's the difference in those people, right? From majority of people who don't. And then the point I'm going to ask after that is, regardless, if you're successful in this model, what are we selling, right? Or what are they selling? And that's going to go back to the IUL product, right? And let's dive into that. But first, let's just talk about what that looks like for a new agent, and then the contrast.
Well, in those models, if you're into like the meetings where the upper echelon, like the leaders are meeting, it's crazy because what they'll tell all these agents, how they'll label these agents is they'll say there's some studs and duds. And out of 100 duds, you're going to find one stud. And what that means is out of all these people that you're bringing in, they're not going to align with what you're doing, but you're always going to find somebody that is okay. And that's how they built their company, with that okay person, right? Now, a lot of people ask me, Matt, if your compass is straight and you're like all this moral, stuff, how come you did it for 8 years? True. It's a valid argument. One of the things that they're really good at is really framing things in a way where it seems like you are doing good and you don't really question it. And then what happens is, as they help you like build a team and do favors for you and help you go on trips and all this stuff, right? Now there's no way you're going to walk away because they did so much for you, right? And so they have this system of really bringing you in and then create leverage where you could leave, but you're going to be walking away from a lot of money. And in the beginning, for me, I was not in a position in life where I could just walk away for that kind of money. That would mean I would have to go get a job that paid far less, and you get hooked in. For me, at the end of the day, too, you got to realize I thought the IUL was good. So I'm doing good. I'm helping agents sell something that's good. We're helping clients. We didn't have a Chris Kirkpatrick on YouTube around that time. And so I had no idea. The carriers don't tell you anything, and then they're not going to teach you anything. And so I thought everything was good. But what for me, it was like a different thing is, as we got closer to COVID, I realized I just don't like a business where I'm bringing in a lot of agents and most of them are quitting. And it's not me. It's they don't like the way things are. And I thought, why am I okay with that? I just got sick and tired of building relationships with people and then losing them once they figured out what we're really doing. And it was just like, I got to the point where no amount of money would pay for that. I just needed to leave. And what's crazy is this: when a new agent joins, after they go through their friends and family and recruit and stuff like, that's when you're going to see most of the leaders take their hands off of you and just start focusing on other people. The reason being is this: by the time they went through 10 appointments, for most people, you tapped out your market. There's no more market, meaning they have no more use for you. And the only use they have for you now is if you go out recruit. If you don't recruit, they don't need you anymore. There's nothing else they could squeeze. And so that's why a lot of agents experience that. Like, hey, we started going on appointments and all of a sudden, like, I can't even get a hold of them now.
Wow.
Because they already looked at your list and they're like, okay, you already got 3 people. Everybody else is hogwash and that's all we're going to do. And
They're just
hey, you want to go recruit.
Earning and goodness gracious.
Yeah.
That's hard.
And so they leave it up to you. So we went over how to recruit, go recruit. And then that's it. There's no more help after that.
All right. So I do want to talk about the IUL, but let's hold off on that for just a moment, because you transitioned, you went to another company, which had completely different model, but also you had some uncomfortable disdain for that as well. Tell us about that company and what's the difference, and completely different type of business, but it's
yeah. So that type of company is more simplified issue, meaning they sell products that you can get approved right away. And mostly they're selling whole life, like final expense whole life, only for like people that need final expense.
Yep.
And then as you get more skill, you're going to be selling mortgage protection. So everything is set on selling right away, really fast, a one call close. Back then, actually, it was in person, and you'd close right there before you leave the house. You're signing an app, and the client's approved in a day. Now, for agents and clients, that sounds great, right? But the problem is with most simplified issue products, they're more expensive. The client doesn't know that. The, if the clients could save extra money and just do blood work or maybe go through regular underwriting, they probably would have taken the savings, but they don't give the options. There is a need for simplified issue, but here's the problem. They sold it to every single person, even if they're healthy. And my problem with that company, and it was my fault too, and I feel guilty about it. I came in with being open, and I'm like, I'm going to just let everything in. I'm going to be open. I'm just going to follow your guys' plan, your guys' system. And so they required you to buy thousands of dollars worth of leads every week. And I led people to do the same thing. And so it sounds great, right? You're buying thousands dollars of leads every week. You make a certain sale, then you're going to profit, right? And then every week you should profit. Sounds great in theory. However, what we found out is a lot of the leads that they're selling us, they're sold to like 20 other agents.
Oh my God.
And they were the company leads.
Oh my God.
So they got in trouble for that. So that's a problem number one. Problem number two, now as I started seeing the game, what's going on, they're really focused on just making a sell and not actually helping people. And there's so many people that could have been in a way better position with a different product, but they're just pitching this one product from one company. Marico is one of the companies that they push. And let me tell you, Marico is probably one of the most expensive terms I've ever seen. And they're slanging it to every single person. And it's because they attach the biggest amount of bonuses and promotion to that product with that company. So for me, I'm just not aligned with that. I'm not going to play these games, and I can't do it. And that's when I thought, I think everybody's probably crooked in this industry. And that's when my transition happened, and that door shut, this door open, and it's going to be interesting ride in the next couple of years.
Cool. So now let's talk about Life 180 and what does that culture look like? I'm a new agent. What does that look like for me now, stepping in and looking at this business, at this company?
Yeah, completely different. So if you look at most agencies, I would want to say 100%, but I can't, but most agencies, what you're going to walk into is a sales force. They're focused on making sales. I have no problem with sales, right? I have a problem with trying to sell people because I don't think life insurance needs to be sold, right? That's a whole different topic. But so you're joining a sales force where they're expecting you to hit numbers. There's leaderboards, cash flow. Everything's about how many sales you can make. And when you first join, they want you to start making sales immediately, like your first week, your second week. That's cool if you like that stuff. And I don't think that's effective. Now with us, we don't treat our company like a sales force. Think of it, you're joining a university. So when you come into a university, you have training, you have resources, you have people that are experts in their field to help you, develop you, and get you in a space where you can actually go out and be successful. And here's a big difference between our company and a lot of other companies. When you join another company, they already have a widget that they already created, and they're going to teach you how to sell this widget. Basically, this is the business we're going to teach you how to create. It wasn't your idea, it was given to you. When you come to University of Phoenix, we don't have anything to give you. We ask you, what kind of business do you want to build? How big, how small, and how do you envision? What's your target market? Who do you want to serve, right? And from you and your ideas, we help you create that. And what's funny is if you join a lot of these other companies, they all are selling the same thing. They're all little elves making little toy makers, right? They're building the same type of business. Whereas at Life 180, when you look across the board, every agent, their business looks completely different. It doesn't even look like we're within the same company because it's all about the agent and what they want to build, right? Utilizing your creativity. We have full autonomy here. And we don't have leaderboards and cash flow and all this stuff. And it's all about the numbers. Because here's the deal, and I think this is important. Chris is successful. Life 180 is successful without all the agents, right? Building an agency with agents was just an add-on because Chris wants to give back and help agents, right? So because of that, you make a sale or not, that's on you. Like, it doesn't hurt our company, right? We want you to be successful. We want you to help people, but we're not going to push you into doing something that you're not aligned with and stuff like that. And believe it or not, guess what? Every agent that comes over, every single one, they're like, this is what I imagined. getting into when I joined this company. I thought this was how it's supposed to be, but it was different, right? And you start to see, wow, we do things that are going against our own logic. And it's because other people are manipulating how we view things, right? And I think for the first time when agents join us, they're like, wait a minute, they're traumatized. Oh, are you going to have me do this? Or I'm like, calm down. It's okay. So yeah, we don't have any surprises. There's no smoke and mirrors. There's not, hey, I gotcha. It's exactly what we say it is. And
New agent.
I think a lot of agents appreciate that.
I'm a new agent with Life 180. Do I have a membership fee?
No, there's no fee to join. Now there is one expense, but that's not us. It's a regulatory thing. You have to get your own E&O insurance. It's $30 a month. But outside of that, you don't give us any money. There's nothing required.
No, errors and omissions. Just for anyone who doesn't know, that's errors and omissions. Insurance, you have to get that no matter what, as well as your license with the state and any other states that you're going to sell. But as far as Life 180 is concerned directly, we don't have to pay a membership fee to join the company or part of the agency. All right.
We don't run it like an MLM. You hardly ever hear us talk about recruiting. No. Doesn't mean like you could totally build an agency because I think the cool thing is, and I didn't mention this, we help you get contracted directly to the carrier.
Right.
So we don't even pay you. And all the people that you help along the way, that's your business. Those are your clients and you get all the renewals. And a lot of agents, they're shocked on that. And it's pretty interesting.
So I'm getting contracted directly with the carriers through Life 180. I'm non-captive, right? And so I have flexibility there and I keep my residuals and I keep my book of business. Now I understood that with some of these other agencies with their book of business, because they also offer some level of ownership where you own the book. But from what I understand, you could only sell that book of business within the agency. Is that true here? Or like, how does that work?
Yeah. So for example, this is GFI's new marketing thing is they say you have ownership in the company. And that's true. Ownership in the company. And what that means is when you join GFI, you get an agent code with GFI, and that agent code is tied to all the carriers. And so all the money flows through that agent code and then goes to your bank account. What they're saying is you own that agent code. That agent code is 100% irrelevant outside of GFI. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. And again, it goes back to the contract language. If you look at the contract, as long as you're in good standing, guess what? That's also in the contract. What does that mean? And so if you look at the history of quote ownership, PHP was one of the first ones that touted ownership, right? And you saw they did this big marketing campaign. Everybody signed this equity deal and all that. That sounded great in the beginning, right? Stay with us for 5-7 years. You're going to get ownership. Since then, Patrick Bet-David, he sold the company to Integrity. Where did all the money go? And I actually have letters from PHP agents that now are losing their so-called equity IPO credits because they're not performing. I wasn't part of the deal. Because they're not performing at a certain standard, now they're losing their so-called credits. But those IPO credits are assuming that Integrity goes public, which I don't think Integrity is ever going to go public because they have so many financial backing. Steve Young, former 49ers quarterback, and they have so much investors, they don't really need to go public. So it's the oldest game that's been played in the insurance industry forever, the ownership game. And I don't know why people continue to fall for it. It's so crazy. Now, I'm not saying there's not a company out there that can do it, but in ownership is probably going to include a contract that's very clear and concise. And it's probably going to include a prospectus. And it's going to have some real legal documents, not a one-pager in generalization and abstract language that you don't understand what it means, right? So I'm not saying there's not a company out there that actually does ownership, but there's a clear distinct, they're not going to use marketing terms that are irrelevant out of the company, like something equity or whatever. You talk about equity, there's going to be language in there that's legal and held by regulation.
Okay. That's a lot. So now let's go ahead and talk about this IUL product, because that's obviously what's being sold here by most of these companies, most of these agents. And I don't know if it's the blind leading the blind or the greedy leading the blind or what's going on here, but what's the problem with this IUL? And also, from what I understand, they're also leading with the IUL sale as a banking system tool, leading with the infinite banking concept and then putting people into IULs for the infinite banking concept. So what are your thoughts on that? And what is that a problem? Should that be a concern?
Yeah, we could talk for hours about this, but I personally think IUL should require a securities license. The fact that you can have Johnny that came off the street and got a license and sit in front of family and sell an IUL with all of the risks, the variables, the unknowns is unimaginable. It's outrageous, right? But that's what's happening. And to what you're saying, it is the blind leading the blind, because I have to say I was ignorant. There's a lot of ignorance. But if you keep on going up that ladder, you'll find somebody that understands what's going on. They're just not saying anything, right? Why stop the flow of money? Just turn a blind eye, right? And that's really the big problem. So without getting into the weeds, this is like an overview, the problem with an IUL. When agents sell an IUL, they're selling on positive features and attributes, right? Participate on the upside of the market, zero floor, can't lose money, right? Tax free. Those are usually like the main selling points, which there is some truth to it, right? Okay. So here's the problem with IUL. They talk about all the potential upside. They never disclose the potential downsides. And here's my argument, and I will debate anybody on this argument. If the client knew of the potential downsides, they would never buy it. Never buy it. Never, ever buy it. So the only way to actually sell an IUL is to not disclose the downsides. Because if I was actually going to be honest with my clients, I say, hey, look, the way this money works, right? You can capture some upsides based on the performance of an index. And if the index doesn't perform, it's not going to actually affect you based on the index performance. However, it can impact your cash value growth still. And here's one of the problems with an IUL. The way it's designed on the chassis, right? It's designed to get more expensive every year. And that expense can never go away. And in this illustration, the reason why you don't see the expenses go up and up, because the illustration is making an assumption. Because your cash is growing, right? It really has to do with net amount of risk. Because the cash is growing, right? What the company looks at is, wow, you have $500,000 of death benefit. Now with all this cash, if you die, I don't have to give $500,000 of the company's money. I'm going to use 300 of your money and then 200 of mine. So what's happening is as your cash grows, it's less risk for the company and more risk on you. It's all your money that they're going to be pushing out. So in that sense, as time goes on, what the illustration is assuming is that you could purchase less and less insurance, right? You're purchasing less and less insurance, but each unit becomes more and more expensive. So when you look at the illustration, it paints a picture like everything's okay, right? That's assuming if the market performed every single year. Now, the question is, in history, have we ever seen the market perform every single year?
If we
No.
did, everybody
No,
would
we haven't,
freaking know,
right?
everybody.
And that's really the big problem. And so the question is this: what happens if the market doesn't perform? What if the illustration doesn't perform as illustrated, which it's already been proven? All the IULs that were sold 10 years ago, none of them that we could find, none of them have really performed as illustrated. And here's a couple of reasons why is when you sign an IUL, when you actually sign for an IUL, you hand over all the controls to the company. And so now the company has the ability to adjust all the performance metrics. Could you imagine if you bought a car and the car that you bought, let's say it's Tesla, right? But Tesla has the ability at any time to change how fast you can go, cap you how fast you can go, and all the metrics of your car. Who the heck would buy a car like that?
Right.
Nobody would. But yeah, we're going to do that with our finances. We're going to hand over control to the carrier. And so when you talk about all this stuff, and especially in the later years, here's the problem. It's easy to see an IUL and make it look good over 10 years. We're talking about 20, 30 years. When you get closer into that retirement age, if that lump sum of money did not grow to that amount, that means your expenses are significantly higher than what is illustrated. And if that happens, that changes everything. And we're not even going to get into when you pull out policy loan. Picture this, when you pull out policy loans, it injects more risks into the policy. And so to make it simplified, right? Let me zoom out for agents that are getting lost here. Ultimately, we can easily say that an IUL, as time goes on, it becomes more and more risky. And I'll tell you this, if most clients knew that I'm about to put $500 or $1,000 into a product that becomes more risky over time, I need to know, how is it going to become more risky and what's the probability of that, which agents would not be able to answer. And if the clients knew that, I can't imagine any logical client saying, oh yeah, sign me up for something where I don't know what's going to happen in the future that's going to be more risky. Yeah, let's put all my money in there. That's why it is the most misrepresented product in the industry, because the agents don't disclose that. Actually, most of the agents don't know it, because when I question agents, they look at me like I'm talking a different language. And that's really the problem. The IUL is sold in a manner to sell it, but people don't know what they're getting into. And it's a big problem. And it's all going to come out. I'll tell you that. I think there's a lot of things that are going to be happening this year and more information that's going to be released. And if you have a business, if you're an agent and your sole income and your business is based on selling IULs, things are going to get pretty hard as time goes on.
Wow. That is crazy. This is great stuff. So I think we've covered a lot of valuable food for thought for anyone who's listening and watching. If you're new to the industry, or if you're already in the industry and you're a part of one of these MLMs, if you're hyper focused on selling IULs, we're not here to bash you or put you down or make you feel bad. We want you to just question what you're doing. And if you're someone who has any conscience of doing the right thing to help people and to not just help yourself, then you really want to take a closer look at what it is that you're doing. Because yes, you can make a lot of money, and just because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical. And there's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to answer for what you're doing. And it might show up in your finances at some point in the future, and it may not. But at the end of the day, you're selling a product to people, and you're selling a business opportunity to people that is actually causing more damage than it is good, under the premise that you're helping and you're rescuing people and bringing them into financial freedom. So that's basically a bait and a switch, in my opinion. That's a selling snake oil, in my opinion. We have an opportunity here with Life 180 where we don't charge any membership fees. You own your book of business. You're contracted with the carriers. You get all your residuals. You have complete control of handling and doing your business how you want. We help you to create a business if you wanted to. As a matter of fact, I started with Life 180, right? I went through a little bit of what you went through. I started off with PHP, then WFG, and then I try to find independents like agents to help everybody selling IUL. I ended up going to Final Expense. Buying leads, very similar, right? And all of it, I just felt like it was a money-making business, but not what I really wanted it to be, which is something where I felt fulfilled helping people, right? Because I didn't need to get into the life insurance industry because I wanted to get out of a job. I'm already a business owner. I have a business finance company. And so this was really to add value to my business clients and offer them something of value, of service, to help improve their financial situation. So how could I introduce and sell them an IUL knowing what I know about the IUL and introduce risk to their business and to their lives? And then, so ultimately I met Chris and the guy I was working with, I told him about the IUL challenge. Hey, you make up $10,000. He brought the VP of one of the insurance carriers that he was selling the IULs with on a call with Chris and me. And that guy simply went on a rant for about 10 minutes about his opinions and theories. And Chris just stopped him and said, hey, listen, that's all good, but that's not the point of this call. It's, do you have a policy that we can look at that's 10 years old and still in force, that's performing as good or better? Either you do or you don't. Do you have it? Because that's what we're here to look at. Guy lost it and literally hangs up the phone on us. And that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Once that happened, I said, you know what? I looked at the guy that I was working with and I said, I'm out. And I said, Chris, I'm in. and it's completely different. Like I've got nothing. I haven't been pressured in any way to make one sale or to recruit one person. But what I have gotten is unlimited access to training on product, on the industry, on understanding even my own values and beliefs, and helping me to just be a better person and understanding my own mindset. And then once I realize, okay, this is what I want to do, I do want to build an agency, right? So you guys are helping me to do that under my own brand, right? And so that's crazy. I have my own brand that I'm promoting. I'm a part of Life 180, but I'm promoting my own brand. And you guys are okay with that. That's amazing. And hey, listen, if you're an agent and you want to just operate under the flag or the banner of the agency, Life 180, you can do that. But if you want to create your own brand and you want to start your own business and start recruiting and build an agency, you can do that too. So if you want to focus on selling whole life under the approach of infinite banking and helping people to create their banking systems, you can do that. But if you want to focus on final expense and mortgage insurance, and that's your niche, then you can do that too. So this is not just like you said, it's not this widget that Life 180 is selling. What Life 180 has done is created an opportunity, a space where an agent can come in. If you're a seasoned veteran, you'll hit the ground running here, right? All this is going to do is make you stronger, better, give you resources and tools that will just help you to flourish, right? But if you're brand new, we're focused on education and getting you to a point where you understand what you're talking about, the language, the different types of products. Who's it good for? Is every product the same for retirement planning, or should we be looking at a different type of product for retirement planning versus solving a need for a banking system for a business owner or for a college planner? There's so many variations, but if we're just selling the one product that solves all of this, then that should tell you there's something wrong. Because how can one product solve for all of the various financial problems and obstacles that people have in their life? And that's what I'm loving, right? Is the fact that I'm not just selling a product, I'm helping people. I'm actually like helping myself, becoming a better person, becoming more educated, and helping other people. And then when I work with agents and we as a team, I'm able to help them. I introduce them to you, Matt. You support them, you train them, you cultivate them. Then we have Tyler, who's a master with illustrations. And guys, if you want to actually know how to design policies and create illustrations and actually know what you're doing and not just click a button to create a policy that's cookie cutter that you're telling somebody is customized for them, but it's just not, it's just a product that you're selling to get a commission, then this is the right agency for you. If you just want to sell, you don't care about whether it's good or bad, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's actually of value, then go for it. Go for those other companies. That's okay. That's for you. But if you actually care, you want to customize plans for people and create actual products and services that help them to flourish and actually help them to better their finances and achieve their goals, and you actually are trying to provide them with the right products and the right services, then that's what you're going to get here. And I'm saying that off of my own experience. And I feel so blessed just to be a part of this team and part of this company, and just to be able to work with you, Matt, and what you're bringing to the table. It's incredible. The amount of training that we're providing is just unheard of, and nobody's paying for it. It's free. We're just giving it away. Hey, people have, how many trainings a week are we doing? Like product training, folks, marketing training, sales training. And then on top of that, Chris has created a whole another level. If you do want to create your brand and do your marketing and create a funnel and build your websites and create a business where you can tap into that at an extremely low cost, and you have support, you have folks that have built funnels and have built websites and marketing online and can help you to build your own brand and your own funnels and build your own business. What is it? What do we do? Like at least 4 or 5 a week? Is that about?
Oh yeah, I do 3, and then plus the onboarding, and then we got Mondays, and then we got our training platform. There's no shortage of training. The way we designed it is we want to give agents so much that the only excuse left is you.
Yeah. Amazing. So I'd like you to just go ahead and speak to the camera, just you one-on-one. You're talking to my audience, potentially a new person thinking about looking at this industry as a business opportunity for themselves, but you're also maybe talking to someone who's knee deep, shoulder deep into a business with one of these other MLMs, and they're watching this video. And just what do you want to say to both of those people? And I'm going to give you the camera one on one.
I think if you're looking to get into this industry, I think this industry can completely change your life because ultimately, I think what most people want to do, they want to do something that's meaningful, right? Something that fulfills you, something that has purpose. And what I find is if you want to do something meaningful that fulfills you, that has purpose, there's two elements that in most cases has to be present. And one of those is you going out and helping and serving for a bigger cause, something bigger than yourself. So it might be you want to go out and help people and educate them on finances. You might want to help people with retirement strategies. You want to help people ensure leaving a legacy for their family. Whatever the cause is, what I find is if you want fulfillment, meaning, or purpose, you need to support a cause or work towards a cause that's way bigger than you. And then on the other side, for a lot of people to get fulfillment and stuff like that, you have to do something that is growing you as a person, that you're creating a better version of yourself. And what I find is it's either one or the other or both. And they both exist in this industry because in this industry, it's going to challenge you. You're going to become a better person just by developing your skills and applying it and going out serving other people. But outside of just you are serving a bigger cause. You're making an impact, not only on one person, you help one person. Think about the generational impact that you're creating just by helping that one person. And so it's like this industry is so awesome as far as going out, helping others and putting people first. But at the end of that, think about this. With all of that work and everything that you're doing, this industry provides uncapped income. And so it's like you put two and two together. Most industries going out where it requires serving people, there's usually the income's not high, right? That's not really the point of it. But I think this is the only industry that I have found where you can go out, make a massive impact and go out help a lot of people, but at the same time you don't have to sacrifice your own income for you and your family. And so if you're looking, if you want to do this in the and get into this industry, even if you have a full-time job, you can completely start part-time. And I suggest you do have a full-time job. But before you actually join any organization, I would actually offer you the opportunity to get with us, ask all your questions. In fact, I want you to do your research. And we don't want everybody. We want people that align with our values and beliefs. And if you don't, that's fine. But I would challenge you to reach out to us, question us, and let us equip you with the right questions that you should ask all the companies before you actually make a decision. So that's if you want to get into the industry. Now, if you are already in the industry and maybe you're with a company, you don't feel like you're getting trained, you feel like there's something shady going on, you're with one of these three-letter MLM companies. So if you pay to join, congratulations, you're in one of those companies. Even if you think everything is going good and you like the people, because that's what they're designed to do is make you like them, I would challenge you, let's have a conversation. Allow me or Sebastian to show you what's up ahead, right? Help you look at the vision and to see if you're really on the right path that's aligned with your values and beliefs. And hey, if it is, congratulations. Continue doing what you do. But I don't know about you. I think it makes sense if I know I'm on the wrong path, when would you want to know? And for me, I'd want to know as soon as possible. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of agents fail in this industry. It's because they're down the wrong path. And had they asked the right questions, had they got more clarity, they could have made different decisions and maybe course corrections. If you're currently in this industry and you're not happy and you feel like things are not going well, feel free to reach out. No obligation. We don't need to recruit you. We're not running an MLM scheme. We'll be glad to have a conversation with you. And if you're just curious and you just want to have a conversation, pick our brains, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Matt, thank you for your time and for just going through, telling us your story and just sharing your knowledge, wisdom, and expertise with us. I hope anyone watching got extreme value from this, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this video with someone who will share it with someone who will share it, because the more people who see this and hear this, it's just going to equip them to make better decisions. Again, just like Matt said, if you have the same values and beliefs that we do and you align with what we're doing here, then the opportunity is wide open for you to come, and the sky's the limit. There's no limit with what you can do, and we're not going to hold you down. we're going to help you to thrive in a moral, ethical way where you can feel confident that you're doing the best and the right thing for the people you work with, your clients, and the agents that you might bring in if you want to build a team. So with that said, Matt, thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Again, guys, if this video was of value to you, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Let someone know who will let someone know about this content. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you and take great care.